everyone, and welcome to your April Inservice. I am Jessica McKeon, and I'm coming to you from the rainy state of Wisconsin. I hope everybody had a wonderful March and a great Easter, and I also hope that the rain outside brings May flowers. I guess we'll see. Hopefully it's not snowing where you are. It's April 3rd here, and I know that they were actually forecasting 5 to 8 inches of snow here in Madison for today, but luckily it's just turned out to be rain. So we'll see how that works out for us, but I don't know about you, I'm ready for winter to be over. So I wanted to touch base with you about several things this month, and the first is to give you a huge thank you for March. You all did incredible. I have the results for all of the different regions, and I have split rates for the different sites. But honestly, you all are doing a fantastic job, and I hope that you know that, and I hope you know how much we appreciate you, because we do. I wanted to start out by going over our achievement to goal for the month of March, and I'll start out with Badger Hawkeye. Badger Hawkeye came in at 99.5% of goal, which was so close, but not quite there. Heart of America came in at 100.3%, which is the first time that Heart of America has hit goal in quite some time, so congratulations to you. Indiana, Ohio came in at an astonishing 109.2% of goal. Just absolutely incredible work there. They were about 168 products over goal, so great job. Great Lakes came in at 96.7% of goal. Southeast Michigan, oh my gosh, Michigan, you're doing incredible, Detroit. 123% of goal. They came in about 300 units over goal last month, so really cool to see that. Central Ohio came in a little bit lower than we expected them to, at 95.3% of goal. Northern Ohio came in at 93.3% of goal. Western Lake Erie, 94.7% of goal. Effingham, 116.3% of goal, so great job to you guys. Jefferson City came in at 94% of goal. And last but certainly not least, Columbia, 124.2% of goal. So as a area or a territory, C1 came in at 104.2% of goal. So we're absolutely where we want to be. Obviously, we would love it if some of the regions who didn't make goal did, but that's something to strive for in April. So great job to everybody. I also wanted to give some shout outs on split rate. So every site split rate is a little bit different depending on how you've collected in the past, your donor base, things like that. But as a whole, we generally tend to go for 2.14. And leading the pack for C1 in March was Lewis Center, which is also known as Polaris, in Central Ohio at a 2.4 PPP, which is just outstanding. Congratulations. I believe that was second in the system. There was actually a site that had a 2.44 split rate, and 2.4 is right up there. Awesome job. Right behind Lewis Center is Goshen in Indiana, Ohio. They came in at 2.38. Goshen and Polaris just continue to blow our socks off in terms of split rate. I don't know how you guys do it, but I really appreciate it because you're doing incredible. Third on the list is La Crosse in Badger Hawkeye at a 2.28 split rate. So great job to you. We also have the other two locations in Central Ohio. We have Columbus, which is 2.25, and Gahanna, which is 2.24. So we always see outstanding split rates from Central Ohio, and you guys never fail to disappoint. Stevens Point in Badger Hawkeye is also right up there at a 2.18. Lansing, Michigan, out of Great Lakes, came over 2.14 at 2.17. We also had Jefferson City in Missouri, Illinois at 2.17. Fort Wayne in Indiana, Ohio at a 2.14, and Toledo, Ohio in Western Lake Erie right at 2.14. So if you weren't on the list, that just means that you were right under the 2.14. We had sites that came in anywhere from 1.89 to 2.4. So there's a lot of variation there. But if you want me to read your name at the next in-service, get over 2.14 and I'll be sure, 2.14 or higher, and I'll be sure to give you some recognition. So outstanding job. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are doing just... I wanted to give a shout out to Northern Ohio and Badger Hawkeye because we had a plasma contest with Fresenius Kabi, and these sites collect plasma using the Alex machine. And there was a contest that ran from February 5th through March 10th. And essentially, if a site got 3 donations in the same day, they got 125 points. If they got 2 donations in one day, they got 75 points. And if they got 1 donation for plasma, they got 25 points. And this contest was held between a bunch of sites in the East and also in C2. And the highest point getter in the entire contest was Parma, Ohio, at 475 points. So congratulations to Parma. They are the winners of a pizza party. And all of the sites did great, but Parma was really outstanding. Warzel in Northern Ohio was at 350 points. Akron was right behind them at 275. And Badger Hawkeye did great as well. West came in at 250. La Crosse came in at 200. East came in at 225. And Green Bay brought up the end at 50 points. So thank you for all that you're doing in collecting Alex plasma. Every unit that we collect on an Alex machine is worth 3 units of plasma, so that's a really important product line for us. Of course, you have probably heard by now, but the Engage survey is right around the corner. And as this sign says, it's from April 30th through May 14th. April 30th through May 14th. So please mark your calendars. We want to hear from you. Your managers will be setting up donuts, coffee, all that good stuff with computers at the various fixed sites to ensure that you have an environment that you can come in and complete the survey and get a little food and beverage while you're there. We want you to answer the survey. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly, whatever you want to say, we want to hear it. So please, please, please take the time to complete the survey. We'll be sending out additional information as to where you can go to get the survey or to access it very shortly. And just as a reminder, it is confidential. We will be, if your supervisor or manager receives a small number of responses, it's actually rolled up to the next level, so we can't tell who submitted what. During my last presentation in March, I actually showed you what we see, and as you could see, there were no names attached. So there will be no retaliation of any sort. We just want to know. We want to know what you guys are thinking, what you're seeing, what we can do better, and your responses are absolutely appreciated. So the other thing with Engage that I wanted to briefly go over is to make sure when you're answering the questions that you read the instructions really carefully, because there's some questions that apply to senior management. There's some questions that apply to your direct supervisor. So please ensure that you're reading those really carefully and you know who the question pertains to, because last year we got quite a bit of feedback from staff that they may have answered a certain way, but they didn't want it to reflect on their direct manager or supervisor. They wanted it to reflect on senior management, like vice presidents, things like that. So again, just please be sure to read the instructions really carefully. It's usually spelled out pretty clearly. And if you're not sure, go ahead and ask your supervisor, your manager, send me an email. I'm not sure who this pertains to, and we can ensure that you get a response to that. So again, thank you. And one more time, please don't forget. You'll be hearing a lot more about that from us in the coming weeks and all the way through May 14th. So again, please ensure that you respond. Thanks so much. And I wanted to give a shout out to one of our staff in Badger Hawkeye. His name is Gabe Fry, and Gabe has been traveling all over the place. to help other regions increase their split rate, and also to give some best practices. So Gabe, thank you. And also there have been some other staff in Badger Hawkeye who have traveled to neighboring regions to help them out as well. So I know that some of them have come from Badger Hawkeye. You've been traveling to Michigan. Thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the time and energy that takes, being away from home, and you're helping out other regions. So again, thanks so much for that. All right, moving on to new equipment. So you have been heard loud and clear that some of our equipment is in disarray, disrepair, and we need to look at replacing it. So we are going ahead and doing that. Some of the sites will be seeing new donor beds. They're beautiful. They're black, they're leather, they're reclinable, and our goal is to eventually replace all of the beds. But of course, as you can imagine, donor beds are pretty expensive. So we have to do that as money allows. So I believe we got 67 beds for the C1 area, and those will be rolling out to various locations. So you may see those. And we'll be trying to move other beds around as well to ensure that you have the best comfort for your donors, because we know that that's important to you and important to our donors. We're also working on getting heat sealers at all of the locations. So if you haven't had heat sealers before, there will be some training involved with that. We think you'll really like them. Right now, some of us are using the metal clips on the apheresis units, and that's kind of tough for the lab, because when it gets to the lab, those crimps can pop off. It creates a huge mess. So we want to help them with blood exposures and also make things easier for us as well. So I believe we ordered 43 of those for C1. Those will be coming in before June 30th, and the beds will as well. So you'll be seeing those. Keep an eye out, and your manager and supervisor will be working with you to ensure that you have the correct training for that. But pretty exciting that we're going to be doing that. We're also trying to get new TVs for a lot of the sites. I know, especially Toledo, Ohio, you guys have some pretty old TVs there. So we're working on getting new TVs. We're working on getting streaming internet services like Netflix at a lot of the sites. So you'll be seeing quite a few changes over the next year or so. And we're really excited with where things are going in terms of donor comfort and also making things easier for you. Just a reminder that we do have a cookbook that we're trying to put together in C1. And actually we've extended that to C2 and the rest of the organization as well. So if you have a recipe that you would like to share, we would love to have it. A recipe should be sent to Sydney Arbor, sydney.arbor@redcross.org, and she's compiling those for Central, and she'll be putting the cookbook together. So if you could send those along with any stories that you have, pictures, that would be fantastic. We're looking at getting each of you who submit a recipe a free copy of the cookbook. So obviously it's important that we get enough recipes to create that cookbook. And if donors would like to submit recipes as well, we welcome that. And we'll try to get copies out to donors as well a little bit later in the fall, once we get an idea of how big the cookbook will be, what sort of recipes are in there, all that sort of good stuff. So if, again, any of you have a recipe that you would like to submit, please do so to Sydney, and the due date for that is the end of June. As far as projects that are going on, I always like to keep you updated as to what's going on. And we do have the Amicus 5.1 upgrade, and that has been successfully implemented in Northern Ohio, who is part of a clinical trial, and in Badger Hawkeye for the most part. There have been some issues that have been related to that, and you'll see some temporary authorities coming out and whatnot, but overall it has been a success. The one thing that has been really challenging for us is in areas that share their Amicus machines with Dendreon. So Dendreon doesn't have certain parameters that are available with the upgrade 5.1. So we actually have to keep a few machines out of the upgrade process for Dendreon to use. We can still use those machines to collect platelets. We just have to run the older version of the software on them, which means that we don't have, that there's a different APR and there's a few things that are different. So Green Bay and Madison and Badger Hawkeye are running two separate upgrade or two separate software on their machines, and obviously not ideal, but we're working through that to try to come up with a better fix for that. We also have PATHS implementation going on in a few of the regions in order to better prepare us for pathogen reduction, which will be coming at some point in the near future. I talked about that a few videos ago. And also, we're still working on integrations. So Toledo, Ohio, you guys are going to be integrating the end of June, and all the sites in Heart of America will also be implementing on July 1st as well. So that is everything that I wanted to cover. Again, if anybody has anything that they would like me to touch on, please feel free to send me an email at jessica.mckeon@redcross.org, or you can always call me. My cell is 509-969-1999. And again, thank you, everyone, for a successful March. I really appreciate everything that you've been doing, and I will talk to you again in May. Thanks so much.